We think we know our cities. We see the pigeons, the squirrels, the usual suspects. But there's this other world, hidden away in our attics and our rooftops, that operates on a completely different timeline. And sometimes that world crosses over into ours. Let's get into it.
Just let that sink in for a moment. 9 years. That's an eternity for a creature this small, waiting in the dark for one single meal. And the craziest part? The answer isn't some bizarre deep-sea fish. It might be living just a few feet above your head right now. So have you ever heard one of those stories? Someone moves into a new apartment and suddenly they're getting these mysterious, super itchy bites? Or maybe some pigeons that were nesting on the balcony were finally cleared out, and right after, a strange allergic reaction starts up. Everyone blames bedbugs or spiders, but the real culprit is often our 9-year survivor.
So let's pull back the curtain and meet the Argas species. This is the focus of our explainer today. They're what we call soft ticks, or more commonly, bird or pigeon ticks. And they are ectoparasites, which just means they live on the outside of their host, in this case, birds. And they have absolutely perfected the art of living right alongside us, hidden in plain sight.
Okay, so we've got a name for our intruder. But what makes this tick so different from the ones we're always hearing about? The ones you worry about after a hike. Well, it turns out, a lot.
This is where it gets really interesting. A hard tick, the kind that can give you Lyme disease, latches on and stays there for days. It's a long-term commitment. But soft ticks, like the Argas species, they're basically hit-and-run feeders. They live in the host's home, like a bird's nest in an attic, then they sneak out for a super quick meal, we're talking minutes, maybe an hour, and then they retreat right back into a crack in the wall. It makes them unbelievably stealthy.
And just to get a sense of where this creature fits in, let's look at its family tree. Now, the key thing to look at here is its class, Arachnida. That's right, these guys are not insects. They're related to spiders and scorpions. And that's not just a fun fact, it actually matters for everything from their behavior to what kind of pest control works on them.
So, how in the world does a creature like this become so resilient? The secret, it turns out, is baked right into its incredibly complex life cycle. It's the key to its whole survival strategy.
So this is different. Most ticks have, one nymph stage, but the Argas tick has several. After the larva gets its first big meal, it drops off. But from then on, every single time it grows, from one nymph stage to the next, and then to an adult, it needs another quick blood meal. It's a life of constant, brief attacks.
And this diagram shows that perfectly. You see how after that first larval stage, the tick just keeps returning to its hiding spot between meals? It's not out in the grass waiting for a host to walk by. It's living inside the building, creating this persistent, hidden population that can just wait for years. Okay, this slide, this is the one that really drives it all home. Just look at the comparison. The fowl tick is pretty tough, but then you look at the pigeon tick, Argas reflexus, the one that's all over European cities. It can live for up to 11 years, and it can go without food for up to 9 of those years. It is an absolute masterclass in survival.
So we have this incredibly patient, unbelievably resilient parasite living in pigeon nests. Why is this our problem? Well, the trouble starts when their favorite meal ticket leaves town. And make no mistake, this is not a local problem. These ticks are master hitchhikers. They've caught rides on birds and spread to every single continent. That larval stage can hang on for days, making birds the perfect long-haul flight.
Here in Europe, the story is all about the partnership between Argas reflexus and the common city pigeon. As pigeons adapted to living with us, they brought their tiny, 8-legged roommates along for the ride, establishing these hidden colonies right in the heart of our biggest cities. And to bring it even closer to home, in the Netherlands, it's known as the duiventiek, which literally just means pigeon tick. It's a known pest, and it's found exactly where you'd think: attics, lofts, old buildings, anywhere a pigeon might decide to build a nest.
And right here, this is the absolute crucial point. This is why we're talking about this. When you get rid of the pigeons, you clean out the nest, you put up spikes, you don't get rid of the ticks. You just leave behind a massive, starving population. And when they get hungry enough, they go looking for the next warm-blooded thing they can find. And if you've just moved into that nicely renovated apartment, that's you.
So this brings us to the human side of the story. What actually happens when one of these ancient survivors finally gets a chance to bite a person? The reactions can be pretty varied. It might just be some localized itching, or it can form these hard, persistent bumps on the skin. But here's the key.
The main danger from Argas reflexus usually isn't a disease like Lyme. The real concern is the risk of a severe allergic reaction. The tick's saliva can trigger a really powerful immune response, and if someone gets bitten repeatedly, it can, in rare cases, lead to life-threatening anaphylactic shock.
So what do doctors do? Well, treatment is pretty similar everywhere, whether it's in the Netherlands or anywhere else. It's mostly about managing the symptoms with things like antihistamines. For a severe allergic reaction, it's adrenaline and corticosteroids. What's really notable is that doctors are super cautious about using antibiotics. Unlike a bite from a high-risk hard tick, they generally won't prescribe them for an Argas bite unless there's a very clear sign of a secondary bacterial infection.
Now, if you do find one on you, getting it off the right way is critical. Health authorities like the RIVM are very specific about this. You need fine-tip tweezers, get as close to the skin as you possibly can, and just pull straight up with steady, even pressure. Don't twist it, don't jerk it, and please, none of those old wives' tales about matches or Vaseline. Just a clean, steady pull.
Of course, the best way to treat a bite is to never get one in the first place. So how do you stop these intruders from moving in? Or how do you evict them if they're already there? Okay, so step 1 is structural control. You have to stop birds from being able to nest in or on your building. Seal up those cracks and entry points. But, and this is a big but, if you think you already have an infestation, this is absolutely not a do-it-yourself project. These ticks hide deep inside walls, under plaster. You need a professional exterminator who knows where to look and has access to the regulated pesticides that can actually get the job.
We've covered a whole lot of ground here, all of which was compiled for this explainer using a Gemini deep search. For anyone who wants to dive even deeper into the research on these fascinating and frankly terrifying little creatures, we've put a link to all of our sources in a Notebook LM document for you. It's in the description.
And hey, while you're down there grabbing that link, if you found this useful or interesting, do us a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. We'd also really love to hear your thoughts or any questions you have, so drop them in the comments below.
And that really leaves us with one last thought to chew on. The story of the bird tick is a perfect reminder that we're not the only ones living in our cities. It's an ancient creature that is perfectly adapted to our modern world. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As our cities get bigger and more complex, what other ancient survivors are we accidentally inviting to become our newest neighbors?